Hi all, this is Once and Future Gamer and welcome to another Pokemon Challenge. Last time was a run through Generation 6 as we sought to see if I could beat Pokemon Y with just a single Vivillon. That was way less stressful than I thought it would be. Let's kick it up a notch today as we see if I can beat Pokemon Fire Red with just a single Spinarak. Spinarak! Oh dear, we've got a 250 base stat total, with our best stat being attack at 60. Everything else, bar our speed, is 40, and the speed is even worse. Yikes, this is not going to be pleasant. 250 is the same base stat total as Bidoof, Marl, Slugma, Smeargle and Swinub, amongst others. So, via level up, we don't get much at all. Psychic is nice, but we're not going to get too much from it, thanks to our low special attack. I was worried about Brock, but there might be a saving grace move in there. By TM, there's Giga Drain, Return, Hidden Power and Dig, all of which could be useful. I think I might need Double Team for the end. I'm going to forego the predictions, I think, so, as always folks, the rules are on the screen throughout. Once again, this challenge was suggested by Patreon Jason Cabanuk. And as always folks, if you do enjoy what you see, then like, subscribe and ring that bell. Thank you for watching folks, enjoy the show. As you can see, I'm trying to go for a shorter opening. Time for the Universal Pokemon Randomizer, and since I'm a glutton for punishment, I replace Bulbasaur with Spinarak, so that I can do the whole run with it, because that would give the rival Charmander, and that will undoubtedly be the hardest thing for us to fight, bar no other starter. Quad resists our Bug Stab, capable of hurting us with both of its. I nicknamed the Spinarak Spidey because, why ever not? I guess we'll have to do whatever a spider can. Oh, we've got the Adamant Nature, so more attack and less special attack, which is good in one sense because our attack is already pretty good and this will make it better, but if we do go for Psychic or Giga Drain, we're not going to get as much from it. I can see one fight in particular near the end that might be rough. Oh, and we have Swarm as an ability, which is a bit meh since we don't get any really good bug moves. Rival fight then, and I don't know what to expect from this one if I'm honest. I suppose I am glad that Charmander doesn't have a fire move yet, or we probably would lose in 1 or 2 turns, but that's not something we have to worry about. It is faster though and does about 1/5 of our health every time it hits us with Scratch. Thankfully, even though our Poison Stings don't do much damage, we do manage to poison it on the first turn, and we can duly watch its strength get sapped away over the next few turns. Thankfully, the poison takes it down before it can finish us off, because this was close. I doubt we would have survived another blow. Time to go off and train then. I'm going to need to be at least level 17 for Brock, I think. We get Nightshade then, but as much as that will help us offensively, it's not going to do diddly to help us defensively, since I can see us getting Rock Tombed down. I want speed and attack EVs, not that it will do much for Nightshade. I need to get those EVs now because I think Fire Red and Leaf Green are the only Gen 3 games where you can't reset your EVs, which really not helpful. It's relatively easy to train physical attackers in this game, thanks to the Mankey on Route 22. Special attackers, if you want to EV train those, you've got no chance! It is a long slog, but I don't mind it. Anything to be that bit stronger later, and since Return is probably the best move we get by a mile, since I don't think Sludge Bomb is until post game, this is the way I go. I go and beat Mankeys senseless anyway for a long time to boost our attack stat. We've got that beneficial nature, I might as well use it. Eventually, while we're on Route 22, we have the rival fight, and I am ready for this. I hope I am anyway. Thanks to his propensity for using Sand Attack, these battles often turn into a coin flip, and we are not one-hitting his Pidgey with either Poison Sting or Constrict at this point, I am sorry to say. Those are just 2 bad moves at this point. The fight begins, and as predicted, after we crash a Poison Sting into Pidgey for about 1/3 of its health, we get sand attacked. Not good, but it doesn't affect us too much over the course of the fight, as we continue to trade blows with Pidgey. We hit it repeatedly until it finally goes down, and we manage to get through unscathed. Charmander is next, and I think it still doesn't know any fire attacks. We keep lashing into it with poison stings, at least when those moves land anyway, because at least one misses, but it does only attack us with Scratch, which is welcome because we can shrug that off for sure. We do poison it right near the end of the fight, and that is the death knell for it, as very shortly after we can take it down and win. After some more grinding, it's time for Brock. I think we can do it now with Nightshade, but I have a feeling we are going to get mega hurt during the course of the fight, since that Rock Tomb is going to hurt when it lands. If it lands, it might miss repeatedly, as Rock Tomb is wont to do. Well, Geodude is a 2-hit with Nightshade. I figured we wouldn't 1-hit either of them, but Geodude's one and only chance to attack results in it going for Tackle. Weird choice, but okay. Onix is also a 2-hit with Nightshade, but actually does go for Rock Tomb. Onix has low attack though, and we shrug it off, and just like that, we've got the first badge. It's moving towards Mount Moon next, and I'm plotting. Strangely enough, I don't think the next gym will actually be that bad, because we do have a stab super effective move for Misty Starmie. I mean, unfortunately, it is pre-Gen 7 Leech Life, but still. I think Misty might actually be more doable than the Nugget Bridge rival fight at this moment, since Pidgeotto is going to be horrible, I think. Anyway, keep on going. I mean, there is that age-old choice as we near the end about which fossil to take. There's a joke to be made here, but I'm not going to be the one that makes it. When I hit Cerulean City, I make a try on Misty straight away and get the option to learn Fury Swipes while levelling in the gym. I decline. It's a choice between Fury Swipes and Constrict in terms of usefulness, and that's kind of like choosing between which foot you want amputated. I think we should be okay here. That might be optimistic. Anyway, Staryu is a 3-hit with Nightshade, and the absolute bonus is that she doesn't attack. And the reason that it is a 3-hit knockout is thanks to her wasting her super potion on the brown starfish. I will take that all day long because she only goes for Harden on her free turn, which isn't going to affect Nightshade. We are faster and we can take it down before Starmie arrives. Now this is faster than us and hits Water Pulse for decent damage, but we don't get confused, which always possibly an issue. Our Nightshade does well over half, and I was going to use Leech Life to recover health throughout the fight, but I figure I do not need to bother, as we tank another Water Pulse, and then we end it with a second Nightshade. That was a pleasant enough fight. As I said before, I bet the rival won't be. Nightshade is far and away our best move at the moment, but 2 of his Pokemon are immune to it, and one of them, Pidgeotto, is really frigging dangerous thanks to it having super effective moves, possibly, and Sand Attack, which is just going to give us a bad day. Our best move for dealing with it is Poison Sting, believe it or not. Yep, this is going to suck. Actually, it goes fine though. Pidgeotto gets poisoned off our first Poison Sting, which, massive, but we do get hit with Sand Attack as predicted. Another Poison Sting, plus damage over time leaves it weak, but our Constrict misses at the end to knock it out, and we get hit with a second Gust as a result, before the poison drops it. Could have been worse, I suppose. Charmander is next, and it survives Nightshade. Can Nightshade miss, by the way? I'm curious about that, before hitting us with an Ember for massive damage, but our second Nightshade lands to take it out. If Rattata is next, we might be in trouble because we are weak thanks to being hit with Ember, but it is Abra and we take it down with Leech Life to get some health back. Rattata actually inflicts some damage on us thanks to quick attacks as we miss 2 Leech Lives in a row. Thanks Pidgeotto, but eventually, and it feels like an eternity, we land 1 leech life to take it down and win. There is travelling now, and I catch some Meowth to use for pickup. This works differently in every game prior to Emerald, so items are not level locked, meaning my Meowth can pick up PP ups, rare candies and the hidden power TM, hopefully before long. Nuggets as well. I can see why they changed it, but it is a handy thing to know about. It makes Fire Red and Leaf Green a little easier in some respects. It does work the same way in Ruby and Sapphire too, but I've only done 1 challenge apiece in those games. While exploring the SS Ant, I get the answer to my earlier question. Yes, Nightshade can miss. I don't know why, I thought it might not do. Oh well, not that it matters too much. Anyway, rival fight. It's never too much of an upgrade in his team from the previous one to this one. That doesn't start until the next one in Pokemon Tower. Pidgeotto is a 2-hit with Poison Sting. Cannot wait to get a better move there, for sure. But we get hit with a Sand Attack because, of course, quite naturally, we don't poison it, but it's not needed and the bird goes crashing down. His next Pokemon is Kadabra, and that could probably mess us up, but we take it down with Leech Life for a swift knockout. Charmeleon is third, and although we get hit with a smoke screen, thanks Rod, you tool, we can take it out with 2 Nightshade attacks. So far so good. We've only got to murder his Raticate and then we are golden. We hit it with Leech Life for big damage, but then when we could have killed it with Poison Sting, we miss thanks to those accuracy debuffs and get clattered with a Hyper Fang. But our Poison Sting connects the second attempt and we drop it hard to take the win. Just the Electric Gym left to do before we can leave town and advance the story, and I'm not sure how this one is going to go, but we'll probably be fine in all honesty. We've built up a bit of a level lead. Sooner or later we are going to need it, but should be fine for a bit. Surge is never that hard since we seem to be powered up by this point. We hit Voltorb with Nightshade and it counters with Sonic Boom, which massively unhelpful, but we've dropped him into healing range. And Surge uses a potion before we can take it out with Poison Sting. However, 2 of those moves are enough to drop it hard and we can move on to Pikachu, who 1 hit with Nightshade before Raichu comes out last, and it likes to use Thunder Wave and Double Team to mess with us. I have prior knowledge of this and have reacted accordingly, as it survives our Nightshade, then paralyses us with Thunder Wave. Our Cherry Berry kicks in though, and we can attack at will to end it with another Nightshade for the 3rd badge. While we are going through Rock Tunnel, here is some Spinarak trivia. These things prey on Cutiefly, so presumably they went hungry before Gen 7? Spinarak and Ariados are the only known Pokemon capable of learning the move Toxic Thread. Before Generation 5, Spiderweb was the signature move of the evolution line. It changed colour from gold and silver to crystal because it was blue in the first 2 Gen 2 games and it didn't become green until crystal. Interestingly enough, the shiny also changed from Gen 2 to Gen 3 as it was purple in Gen 2 and later became a sort of grey-blue after Hoenn. There are a lot of possible spiders who it could be based on. It could be seen as a parallel to Ladybar, as both of them are Gen 2 bugs exclusive to a single Johto game. Spinarak in Gold and Heart Gold, Ladybar in Silver and Soul Silver. Spinarak is more common in Fire Red, Ladybar is more common in Leaf Green. Spinarak are nocturnal, Ladybar only appear in the morning. I wish there was more trivia. Lavender Town rival fight then. We've got return, but even after fighting numerous opponents, I've not managed to get my hands on hidden power TM from the Meowth pickup squad just yet. About 5 rare candies, 8 nuggets, 3 PP ups and a whole bunch of berries, but no hidden power TM. Weird. Return might make this a bit more of an equaliser. At least I don't have to Poison Sting the Pidgeotto down this time. This one, easy. We one-hit sweep his entire team, as Pidgeotto gets dropped by return and then he makes the brave choice to go for Execute. Unfortunately, it has a quad weakness to bug, and we take it out with Leech Life, before the next one to make it onto the scene is Kadabra. Again, Leech Life. I can see what he was trying to do, but it didn't work. Charmeleon goes down to return before Gyarados is last, and if he does that every single time we fight, I can totally work with that, because it will mean no Intimidate until the end of the fight, and that will just be gravy. I bet we don't get that lucky though. Gyarados gets dropped with return. In Celadon City, it is the choice between Erica and Giovanni, and I'm going to clear the Rocket Hideout out first. Giovanni should not be a problem, at least not this time. Will he be later? That's kind of hard to say for sure. Maybe, perhaps, maybe not the Sylph one, but the last gym? I don't know. Anyway, as per usual for this fight, Kangaskhan is the only sort of obstacle. We down Onyx with a single Psychic for a swift knockout before the next opponent to emerge is Rhyhorn, and that does about as well as the Onyx did. Suffice to say, not at all, and we blast it down with Psychic. Kangaskhan does weather the hit, we strike it with return and it survives on red health, but only goes for Tail Whip before we bring it down with a second return, as we can now move on. I will try Erica while I am in town, and I'm reasonably confident as being able to beat her. We quad resist grass, so she is not going to be able to do much to us with her stab. I think the biggest concern might be paralysis, so that's something we have to watch out for. But I think we can brute force her, and that's what I'll go with. We strike Victory Bell with a return and knock it flat out for a swift win, and that's a good start. But it might be expected, considering we are nearly 30 levels higher. Tangela also goes down to return very quickly before Vileplume is last, and this is usually the biggest obstacle in her arsenal. But return floors it hard, and we've got our 4th badge. With that, we can run into the next bit of the game. Not too long later, I do finally get a hidden power TM and test it out in the grass outside Lavender Town. Now, I'm not 100% sure exactly what type it is, but given it is resisted by both the fire type Growlithe and the normal and flying type Pidgey, I can make the educated guess that it is either grass or bug type. Neither of which helps us massively, since if I want a grass move, I'll go Giga Drain for health recovery. I am going to keep Leech Life for a bit longer though at the moment. It is time then to fight our way through Sylph. I always fight every Rocket in here because they vanish once Giovanni is beaten, and I can't turn down that experience. We are doing okay at the moment, but I think once we about get to the fire gym, I think things are going to get way harder. Let's talk about what's going on with the channel. I've still been firing through more Jedi Survivor. By the time this airs, I might have finished it. This is time of writing OAFG, not time of recording or uploading OAFG. I can't possibly comment. Actually, recording OAFG here, I have finished Jedi Survivor. At the time of writing, I still need to finish editing the Pokemon Y with Vivian video, so that should give you an idea. If my schedule goes to plan, this will air on August the 26th. It's currently the 8th on time of writing, 18 days earlier. Ah well, I do not know what I will be doing come then. I probably will look to finish Ocarina of Time once I've done Jedi Survivor. I mean, it is a tough choice. Use the Switch Pro controller or the Nintendo 64 controller. I'm not a big fan of either for this game if I'm honest. The latter controls better, the former just feels more natural. I had the Nintendo 64 back in the day. I used to have the Pokemon Stadium Pikachu issue once. Now with hindsight, for the value, I really wish I'd kept that. Just saying. And looking back, I don't know how we ever used that controller. I've never seen a controller like it before or since. Now, I think once that's out of the way, it'll most likely be RE3 Remake. There is stuff I want to do survival horror wise. I've got both Evil Within and Tormented Souls that I want to do on the channel. Time, I guess. I couldn't have gone on like I was earlier on in the year. June just broke me a bit. Anyway, challenge wise, we are moving towards Challenge 100. If all had gone to plan, it would have been this month, but now it's scheduled for October. I have a tentative idea. Next challenge is one where we stay in Gen 3 as we return to Hoenn and I do a challenge I've had requested for a while now, as I see if I can beat Pokemon Emerald with just a single Surskit. More bugs, yay! I do another 2 requests after that, and then it's number 100 time. I either need to go retrospective or go epic on that, and I'm leaning for the former. As always, if you have any ideas for future challenges, head to the comment section down below or follow the links in the description to my Twitter or my Discord. Always enjoy seeing what weird and wonderful ideas you come up with. Also, down in the description there's a Patreon link if you want to support the channel. If not, pass on the message, spread the word to anyone you think may like this comment. As always, if you haven't already done so, please do subscribe. I'm currently sort of lurking about the 250 subscribers mark, it keeps jumping up and down. Personally, I'm looking to aim for about 300 for the end of the year. Now if I get more, that'd be fantastic, that'd be absolute chef's kiss, but it's a target. Help me hit it, folks! Anyway, back to the scheduled content. Rival time now, and this is normally when he starts getting tricky. We'll have to see how we can do here. I think we might be okay, but it could go either way. I would be very worried about Charizard because I think it will be able to definitely 2-shot us, if not one hit. So that turns out to be a surprisingly apt prediction. Pidgeot is a 1-hit with return, which perhaps not surprising, but if that continues to be a thing throughout, I will be happy. Execute is next, and that goes down to a single Leech Life, but I will be getting rid of that move before long because it's rapidly running out of usefulness. Alakazam goes down to return, and then it's the time of Charizard. Remember my prediction? It survives return and then one-shots us from full health when we're 26 levels higher. I think the word yikes is appropriate there for sure. I head south to future. I'll make this try again in a bit when we can either one-hit Charizard or survive a flamethrower. There is still Gyarados to consider after, so I doubt we would be able to take that down after being set on fire and losing most of our health to Charizard. I will make a try on Koga instead. Now, I'm really not worried about this. He cannot poison us, so that's kind of his main tactic well out of the window. But there always is a chance, I guess, that he can mess us up with accuracy debuffs. We need to be careful, as always. Coughing number 1 goes down to Psychic, so not an issue, before the Muck is next, and this is usually horrible to deal with. Not this time though, as we crit return and drop it hard for the knockout. Second Coughing goes the same way as the first one, so we've just got Wheezing left to deal with, and it survives our return on about a third of its health. We get hit with Smokescreen, and this could turn nasty, but our second return lands and we take it down for our 5th badge. Do I go back for the rival or do I go face Blaine? That's the question. Neither is going to be pleasant come this point. I think the rival may actually be more doable. Blaine could actually be horrific, and it's not often we say that. I go to the rival at level 75 and the first bit of the fight goes exactly the same way, as we down Pidgeot with return, Execute with Leech Life and Alakazam with return. Charizard goes differently this time as we hit it with return, all the proportional force of a spider behind that blow, and this time we take it down in one hit. That fight is going to be rough come the end of the game, isn't it? Gyarados intimidates and survives return, hitting us with Dragon Rage, and that is why we needed to one-hit Charizard. Surviving Flamethrower on 1 or 2 HP would not have done us much good, but we finish Gyarados with Nightshade. Giovanni is next, and this one I'm not too concerned about. We should be able to handle him just fine. Just like with Koga, we don't have to worry about being poisoned, and that's always a risk in the fire red, leaf green fights with him. Anyway, it begins and we drop Nidorino with return for a knockout very quickly. That's good then. Rhyhorn survives Psychic and hits a Fury attack for pretty minimal damage, but it's nothing we cannot handle as we finish that off with Leech Life. Kangaskhan goes down to a single return, nice, before the final opponent is Nidoqueen. She survives our return on a Sliver, and then in a display of Giovanni's sheer tactical mastery, as befitting the 8th and final and toughest gym leader of the region, she goes for Double Kick against a Bug Poison type. I don't know how that was the best choice of move in this situation, but okay, whatever floats your boat, Giovanni. We finish her with Nightshade. Sabrina then, while I'm in town, and I still think she might be more doable than Blaine at this time. I genuinely think Blaine is going to be bad, thanks to the Intimidate and Fire Blast combination. Sabrina, when we do fight her, is genuinely not that bad, thanks to our level lead and our overwhelming attack versus her less than whelming defence, as we one-shot our way through the entire fight with Return. Downing first Kadabra with the move, then Mr. Mime also goes down to Return, then Alakazam is out first, and given how much of a Gen 1 beast this was, it's always pleasant to down it in a single hit, before Venomoth doesn't do any better than the others. I always wonder why Sabrina has the Venomoth. I'd love to know the in-game reason. Maybe something to do with the powders making people more susceptible to psychic power? I don't know, I didn't write the game. If we are continuing the boss rush, let's make it onto Blaine. I just think we are going to get outright murdered by Arcanine, assuming we even get that far. I'm just thinking about how much Rock-type hidden power would have helped us in this run. Not that we can do much about it now. First effort goes great, right up until Arcanine. We get intimidated by Growlithe, but we are still more than capable of dropping it with Return. The same goes for Ponyta, out next. It cannot stand up to our Return and it goes down. We crit Rapidash with Return. Now, I do not know if that crit was necessary or not, but it is moot as we go into Arcanine. Return does slightly over half, and then it crits us with a Fire Blast to drop us. Now, would we have survived a non-crit? And furthermore, Fire Blast is not accurate. Let's try this again and just see if we can get Fortune. It does take a few attempts, but eventually we get a run where, when we get to Arcanine, I go for Nightshade instead, just to see what sort of damage it does. And probably it turns out just about a bit more than Return is the answer, thanks to that double Intimidate. And then, when Arcanine does land Fire Blast, we survive on 9 HP. Thank goodness it doesn't have extreme speed, and we can take it out with a second Nightshade to win. So up next, we've got Giovanni and the fight for the 8th badge, and I replace Leech Life with Giga Drain ahead of this gym. Since he has a couple of Pokemon, that move will be useful against. Before I go into this fight, I'm not expecting it to be hard, and I'm duly not disappointed either, because this is quite a pleasant experience. Rhyhorn number 1 goes down to Giga Drain in very short order, before he sends out the Ace Rhyhorn. It is an absolute travesty. Game Freak didn't give him a ride on in these games, and that goes down the same way as we Giga Drain it. Dugtrio is next, and we smack that out with a Return to put us 3 up in the fight, before Nidoqueen is next, and I figure she may survive a hit. Nope, we drop her with a Return, and if she doesn't tank one of those moves, then Nidoking definitely isn't going to either, and that goes down hard too to give us the badge. We have the Route 22 rival fight before we can go much further, and if this goes badly, at least I can go and level up in the Sevi Islands. I think this may be a similar story to the Sylph rival fight. We will probably one-hit everything up to Charizard, and then it will be either him or me that comes out on top. Maybe. It's an apt prediction, as we take Pidgeot down with Return for the knockout very quickly, and out next for him is Alakazam. And once again, we go for Return to take it down hard and get the victory. Third is Rhyhorn, and a crit Giga Drain is enough to end that as opposition, before Charizard is 4th, and this is where it comes crashing down. Return does about 3/4 of its health, and then, once again, just like the first few rival fights at Sylph, we get one shot from full health with Flamethrower. Well, I saw that coming. Now I wonder if there's a damage range or something. Maybe we can get lucky with a crit. I'm going to make a few more tries and see if there is anything I can do to overcome that orange lizard. And on the very next attempt, the first half of the fight goes exactly the same way before the AI does me an absolutely solid one, as rather than one hitting us with Flamethrower, Charizard goes to Scary Face and misses. Well, what an idiot, but lucky me as we down it with another return. Gyarados is 5th and survives return, but also misses a move, a Hydro Pump in this instance, and we can duly finish that with Nightshade. Last is Execute, and it also survives return on a Sliver before paralysing us with Stun Spore, which, not ideal. It tries to charge up Solar Beam, which, even if it does land, isn't going to do a whole lot to us, and we can end that with a second return. After fighting through Victory Road, I stand in the Indigo Plateau, and here are our stats at level 90. Now, they are better than I thought they might be in some respect. Our attack feels decent, I can't complain about that for what we are. I do doubt we will hit the 200 mark, even if we do get to level 100, but things could be worse. Speed is okay, defence is passable I suppose, but those special stats are worrying, particularly the defence. Giga Drain will probably get us through that stuff that is quad weak to grass, but it will not be much good elsewhere other than health recovery. Lorelei we will probably get past. Bruno shouldn't be an issue unless he starts pulling tricks with rock moves, and given Hitmonchan has Rock Tomb, that is the danger. Agatha could be brutal because we don't have a fantastic way of hurting her ghost types. It is either Psychic or Nightshade, and how I wish we got Shadow Ball. Lance will be rough because we will be intimidated the full fight, but again, Nightshade might be useful there. Can we do it at this level? That's the question, isn't it? Take your guesses on if I can or not right now, folks. Lorelei is first, and well, I think we might have some issues in that her Pokemon are quite tanky, so dealing damage is going to be fun. Dugong, Cloyster, Slowbro and Lapras will probably all survive at least one hit, so yeah, let's see. I was right, you know, it is a gruelling fight, but we never actually really look like losing, though there is one hairy moment that does turn out well for us. Dugong survives return and hits Surf, but we do shrug it off. Dugong is all HP and nothing else, I think. She does heal on the next turn. We strike it with a crit Giga Drain to restore some health, and then a Nightshade to finish that off and give us a win early on. Slowbro is next and it survives return, hitting us with Yawn, which, not ideal. I decide to take it out and deal with the consequences when they come. And though I was expecting Jinx to be next, Cloyster comes out for the next round, which, massively better as we fall asleep. Thankfully, it only really goes for Hail and Spikes, as well as Protect, and we wake up after one turn. I go for Giga Drain since it has low special defence. It narrowly survives, and we have to finish it off with Nightshade at the second attempt, after it blocks the first one with Protect. Jinx goes down to a single return, it is a frail opponent, before Lapras is last, and this walls us a bit. It survives return and eats the Citrus Berry to take its health back above half. It never goes for Confuse Ray in this fight, which is usually a massive stumbling block. We get hit with a few Surf attacks and she heals it when we misjudge the damage range and try to end it with Nightshade. But it is a quick matter to take it down with another return and another Nightshade, which gives us a hard fought win. Bruno is next, and I don't know how this will work out if I am honest. I think Hitmonchan might be the main obstacle since both it and Machamp know Rock Tomb, which could get messy. Still, I guess we'll just have to see. Bruno begins with Onix number 1, and that's easy. We strike it with Giga Drain to bring it down, and if it's all that easy, it'll not be. I go for Psychic versus Hitmonchan. Return, in theory, would be a better choice as we are not a special attacker and Hitmonchan has great special defence, but it does no counter and I've been caught out by this before. Going for Return is exceptionally risky. We get hit with Rock Tomb and Mach Punch, but they are surprisingly insipid and we finish that with Return. Machamp is third. We do our damage with Psychic, but it goes for Scary Face and Cross Chop, which, weird choice given it has a super effective move, but okay. Even with the Citrus Berry being eaten, we managed to take it down with a second Psychic. Hitmonlee strikes us with Mega Kick, but we drop it with Return before the second Onix is his last Pokemon and a Giga Drain takes it down. Agatha is third then, and I think we are going to struggle here to do damage. Only Psychic and Nightshade are going to be highly effective on her team. Return and Giga Drain aren't going to do much to Ghost and Poison types, if anything. Well, Return might be useful on Arbok and Golbat. Anyway, Gengar number 1 survives Psychic and goes for Double Team, which is why Gengar number 1 is a pain in the arse. She heals and we take it out with 3 Nightshades after the second one misses because, of course. Thanks Double Team. We get clocked with Shadow Punch, but it doesn't do much. Golbat survives Return, of course, then hits us with massive damage from Air Cutter, but we take it out on red health with Psychic. I went Psychic because I had a feeling she might switch into a Ghost type to avoid Return. Of course she didn't, so I look like an idiot, but I had a feeling. Haunter goes down to Psychic before the second Gengar takes about 3/4 of its health from Psychic. We get hit with Shadow Ball, which, that's fine, and finish that off with another Psychic. Arbok is a 2-hit with Return, and thankfully it misses an Iron Tail, which could have caused big damage, but it's Iron Tail, so it did what Iron Tail tends to do and missed. Moving on then. Lance. I'm not looking forward to this one. Being intimidated for the full fight is just going to be horrible, and I think Aerodactyl is going to be a nightmare, but we can only do what we can do. If I have to increase our levels for this fight, then that is what I will do. I think I'll have to max out for the final rival fight anyway. Now, this fight, yeah, we lose it. Gyarados is a pain, as we just can't quite do enough damage to it. It shrugs off our Return, it shrugs off our Nightshade and keeps blasting us with Dragon Rage. When he heals it, I go for a Giga Drain that does relatively little damage, but before we can strike it with another Return, he swaps into Dragonite, who we do even less damage to with our Return. It shrugs the blow off with no sort of problem. Nightshade is our best option for damaging the Dragonite, and it takes 2 to take it out, as it only goes for Safeguard. That is one bulky opponent down, but next comes Aerodactyl. For the first time in a while, we get outsped by an opponent and it lands Wing Attack, which, of course, crits and takes us down for the count, giving Lance the win. I pop some rare candies and go again at level 95. I think this might give us a bit more of an edge. It does go slightly better, but we still get somewhat walled as the fight goes on. So, we 2-hit Gyarados with Nightshade. We get tagged with Dragon Rage in exchange, which, not ideal, but we can soon heal it up, so massive bonus. And with the leftovers, we mitigate it. Dragonite is easy, as we land a very fortunate crit with Return, which was massive, meaning we can go into Aerodactyl at more or less full health. Now, we go for Giga Drain, but it does very little, and we get hit with Scary Face, and Ancient Power, and Hyper Beam, all before we can actually 2-hit that with Nightshade, meaning we're severely hurting going into the next Pokemon, his first Dragonair. With our speed and our attack compromised and our health low, it easily ends us with Outrage. Should I go level 100? I think I might need to. It might seem like overkill, but I don't think that even in the slightest, since maxing out our level is still not a guarantee of victory, considering what Aerodactyl keeps doing to us. It takes a few attempts, but eventually we get another effort where we land the crit Return on Dragonite, and that is the game changer, because not taking any damage versus Dragonite means we can go into Aerodactyl on pretty much full health. We hit Nightshade, and on every single effort we made at this fight, it landed Scary Face, which just not helpful. 85% accuracy, my ass, it hit every single time. We tank an Ancient Power and finish Aerodactyl off with another Nightshade. Phew! Dragonair number 1 only goes for Dragon Rage and then just about survives our return. He then goes on a mad healing spree, dropping both his full restores on the Dragonair, which, not ideal, but it means our health is ticking back up until finally, when he runs out of heals and hits another Dragon Rage, we down it with Return. The second Dragonair only goes for Safeguard as we hit our return, and then it Hyper Beams us. I figure that as long as it doesn't crit, we will be fine, and I am proven right. We take it down. Thankfully, no crit. If I had lost there, I'd have been very upset. Final rival fight then. I figure we may stand a reasonable chance here as long as things go our way. And the very first attempt goes very badly wrong, very quickly indeed. As it turns out, for the first time in the game, Pidgeot is capable of surviving our return, which massively bad. It has both Feather Dance and Sand Attack. And on the first attempt, we get hit with both, and as a result, we have absolutely no chance of winning. The second attempt, we only get hit with Feather Dance from Pidgeot, as we free hit that with Return, thanks to him using a heal, but I feel like the damage is still done. I just wish it would strike us with Aerial Ace and have done with it. That would be a far better outcome than the cheap tactics of messing with our stats. With Feather Dance, in effect, we cannot one-hit Alakazam and Psychic wrecks our health, meaning a victory is even less likely. Rhydon is at least a one-hit with Giga Drain and that does recover a lot of health. Charizard is next. It survives Nightshade and then hits us with a Fire Blast, which, suffice to say, we do not survive. I wonder how long before we have to go the double team route. Hopefully not. It is dangerous in this fight at the best of times, since there is no real great opponent to build them up on. It's not like the champion fight in Emerald where you can cheese it on Wallace's Wailord right at the start. This takes a lot of time, and there are so many efforts where we just get flat out murdered by Charizard and Fire Blast. Now, I work out that to win, two things need to happen. We need to beat Pidgeot with our stats intact, and then Charizard needs to miss Fire Blast. Otherwise, no chance. It takes a lot of attempts, but eventually we get one. We crit Pidgeot with Return, and that means we can go into the next two Pokemon, Alakazam and Rhydon, with no real fear. As long as our attack isn't down, we can one-hit Alakazam with Return, and Giga Drain is an instant kill on Rhydon. We strike Charizard with Return, it's ever so slightly not enough to defeat it, but it eventually misses Fire Blast and another Return strikes it down. Executor is next. About the only effective way it has of hurting us is Egg Bomb, so that's what it goes for when it survives our return. We tank it really well before dropping it at the second attempt with another Return. Last is Gyarados, and we get intimidated, so Return is not as viable an option. I hit Nightshade and put it on yellow health, just. I am not sure if another Nightshade will end it, so I go for Giga Drain to put it on about a third of its health. We get hit with two Dragon Rage attacks, and then finally we blast Gyarados with a second Nightshade to put it down and give us the win. Just like that, we have beaten the final boss. We can head off into the Hall of Fame, and Spidey has proven that with great power comes great victory. So that got rough right at the end, but I kinda had an inkling early on that the rival's Charizard was going to be an absolute nightmare when it came down to it. However, I didn't expect Lance to be as rough as he was though. Glad it's over. I enjoyed it though, and I hope you did too. Thanks for watching another Pokemon Challenge, always appreciated. Join me again next time for another trip through Generation 3 as we see if I can beat Pokemon Emerald using just a single Surskit. I feel like that one could go either way for roughness. I guess we'll have to see now, won't we? As always, if you have any ideas for future challenges, head to the comment section down below or follow the links in the description to my Twitter or my Discord. Come on by, see what's going on. Always trying to get more use out of those accounts. I mean, as per usual, I don't have much to say at this point, just trying to think of new content and trying to find the time to do said new content too. Not enough hours in the day. Hey, this one's less than 50 minutes long. I think I did well here. I'm going to jump off here. As always, folks, this has been Once and Future Gamer, and this has been Pokemon Fire Red with a single Spinarak. Take care now, have a great day, and I will see you next time. Bye bye now, so long, see ya!